Hello, welcome to Medical Affairs Strategy Hacks. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to helping medical affairs professionals improve their strategic thinking, communication, relationship building, and really importantly, insight skills. I'm really excited to be joined again by Rich Swank, who is a world-renowned expert in MSL Insights. He has so much knowledge. I'm really excited for him to share some of this information. And before we dive into that, just so you guys know, Rich and I will be launching an MSL Insights course. I'll share the link to sign up for the wait list. It's going to be awesome. We're pouring our heart and soul into this, and it is turning out really nice. But now on to today's hack. MSLs have a lot of pressure to gather insights, but insights can be very tricky. And we oftentimes hear the feedback, oh, get better insights, but it's just not great feedback helping MSLs understand what insights are. So Rich and I thought we could help you all by talking about some negative examples. And sometimes it's easy to learn that way. Rich, what are your thoughts around some of the challenges that MSLs are facing when it comes to get better insights, get better insights?
Thanks, Patrina, and thanks again for the invitation. I guess let's start with just maybe three areas that are usually areas of failure for MSLs. The first is the information they bring back isn't on strategy or relevant to the business. The second might be the timing is way off. So they may be searching for insights or looking for information that may have been important 6 or 9 months ago, but isn't anymore. And the third is disconnected and not uncovering the
Yes.
why of why something's important, why it's salient, why it's relevant. So in those three cases, that you can come up with different examples of bad versions of insights gathering, but they tend to stem from similar kinds of buckets like that. And for example, information that's brought back about Dr. Smith didn't like the disease state deck. Well, that's not relevant. It's not actionable, and it's lacking the why. If it were framed as, well, Dr. Smith didn't like the disease state deck because it didn't encapsulate the current treatment paradigms well enough, including A, B, and C, or it didn't position the potential for therapy for our product in the right light. In fact, maybe it was negative or something like that, provides an example of what the context might be. And it might dig deeper and uncover more information about why the HCP is thinking that way.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. So, just to summarize, Rich is recommending that insights should include relevance to the strategy. They should be timely, so it should be something that the company cares about in that time frame. And then, of course, uncover the why. And you did a really great job with that example about HCP liking a disease state deck. So, the key takeaway here for you all is to take this a level deeper and understand the why. I always like to advise MSLs to think about the consumers of the insight. So if
Yeah.
you were a person that was just analyzing these at your company, what would you think? Rich, do you want to add anything on there?
Oh, you're spot on. I mean, and I've been in that position. I've led teams and worked with individuals that have been assigned roles like that to be on point, to decipher, you know, almost needing a decoder ring to figure out
Yeah.
what was meant by some of the insights or comments put into a CRM system. And none of us want to be in that spot, right? We don't want to have to put on our special decoder ring to try to figure out what is meant by the context. So equally as important is how that information is summarized and how it's positioned in whatever system you're using, a CRM or God forbid, an
An
Excel
Excel
spreadsheet or
sheet.
whatever.
Yeah. Um, that's great. So remember, think about your audience and what information they need to understand that insight and be able to analyze it. Rich, do you have an example of a bad insight that you can share or that really stuck out to you for whatever reason?
Well, I think maybe a one that sticks in the back of my mind or the longest is information about a preference that an opinion leader had on how information was presented. So it was not an insight based on fact or an implication of how something's used, but it was a bit of information that really went to how the opinion leader viewed an optional therapy. And I'll stay away from the actual therapeutic area here, but rather than digging deeper and illustrating the context and uncovering some of the background and why this opinion leader felt the way they did, the insight was kind of kept in a vacuum and didn't really, the MSL didn't have an opportunity to develop it or explain it more.
Okay, so it could have been something that would have been probably useful from a training perspective or something like that. But because it was lacking that additional context and the why, you all couldn't act on it.
It might be, a way to explain this in a simpler way might be as if an HCP said, "Well, I don't like the background blue color on that poster that was presented at this big hematology meeting." Well, that's irrelevant and missing the point entirely, right? So if someone's focusing on something as inane as the background color on a poster, you can't see the forest for the trees. So an example like that on just a preference for a color, I think, is might win the
Okay.
prize for the most inane so-called insight.
I could imagine you in your last role with all your top leaders sitting there looking at this insight and just being like, okay.
Yeah,
um,
mystified as to where this
yeah.
person's might be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's the key point here, folks. Think about your audience and what they're going to be doing with this information. So we hope that this was useful for you to help understand what good insights look like. So if you read the article on the Medical Affairs Value blog, we have a couple more examples. And I want to thank Rich so much for sharing his expertise. Do you have any closing words?
just it's been a pleasure working with you on this overall topic, and the modules that are incorporated in the coursework are fantastic and really distill our collective experience in working with vendors and with companies over the years. So I think it's a great opportunity for MSLs to hone their contributions to their corporate strategies and helping them shape the practice of medicine in their territories.
Yes, I couldn't have said that better. As a reminder, the link to join the wait list for the new MSL Insights course is down below. I also have a newsletter where you can sign up to get notified of new hacks as they become available. So once again, thanks, Rich, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.